Have you ever felt like letting go of someone meant losing a part of yourself? Like the pain of detachment was so deep, it left you wondering if you'd ever feel whole again. If so, this video is for you. We've been taught that real love means holding on, no matter the cost. That if you let go, you've failed. But what if that belief is keeping you stuck in pain, chained to a story that has already ended? What if the emptiness you feel isn't because they left, but because you've forgotten how to come home to yourself? In this video, we're going to uncover the powerful truth behind emotional attachment versus real love, and how letting go is not losing, it's reclaiming your freedom. You'll learn why pain after loss is normal, but suffering doesn't have to be forever. How to heal without closing your heart, how to let go without becoming cold, and most importantly, how to turn your heartbreak into a catalyst for deep emotional growth. If you've ever struggled to move on from someone who meant the world to you, stay with us, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand detachment, you'll finally feel free. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. If you've convinced yourself that love can only be found in another person, that your sense of being whole depends on their presence, then you've unknowingly built a prison around your heart. And sadly, you are both the inmate and the guard. When you tie your self-worth to another human being, you put your happiness in a fragile place, a place that is not yours to control. The moment you believe you need someone to feel valuable, complete, or emotionally stable, you surrender the key to your well-being. You make your joy conditional. You make your peace negotiable. And that's a dangerous way to live. I know, because I've felt it too. If your stability crumbles without their support, if your spirit collapses without their presence, that isn't love. That's dependence. It means you've used this person as an emotional anchor, something to hold you upright, something to keep you from drifting into your storms. And while that may feel comforting at first, eventually it becomes suffocating for both of you. Now here's one of the hardest truths you'll ever face. When attachment drives your relationship, fear becomes the pilot, not love. Fear of being abandoned, fear of change, fear of growing apart, fear that one day they'll stop loving you, fear that their absence will destroy you. That's not love. That's fear of loss dressed in emotional disguise. It feels heavy, desperate, anxious, like you're always one wrong step away from heartbreak. And trust me, you cannot build a peaceful, fulfilling love on a foundation of fear, because real love, true love, doesn't chain you. It frees you. Love adds. Attachment clings. Love inspires openness. Attachment traps you in possessiveness. Love says, I want to share life with you. Attachment screams, I cannot survive without you. Love is a river. It flows, it gives, it nurtures. Attachment is a cage. It controls, it suffocates, it demands. So if your entire emotional world crumbles at the thought of losing someone, if you feel like your heart would fall apart without them, it's time to face something painful but necessary. You've placed your happiness in someone else's hands. And that kind of emotional surrender will only leave you lost, drained, and disoriented the moment they leave or change. This is where detachment comes in, not as an act of abandonment, not as bitterness, but as a radical, sacred return to yourself. Detachment doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you start remembering who you are outside of the bond. It means restoring the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. Because when you rely on someone else to regulate your emotions, you give them the steering wheel to your soul. If they stay, you're whole. If they leave, you're broken. And deep down, that's not healthy. That's not love. That's emotional captivity. True love, the kind that brings peace instead of panic, begins when you love without depending. That's where the balance lies. Carl Jung, in his quiet brilliance, once said, "Love does not need to possess. It only needs to be understood." And that quote echoes in my heart like a sacred truth. Because when you love from a place of genuine connection, not emotional dependency, you stop trying to control. You stop clinging in fear. You stop chasing reassurance. You no longer believe that someone else is responsible for keeping you whole. And you finally stop fearing that love will run out, because you realize it lives inside you. It always has. Real love is not fear. It's not anxiety. It's not the tightness in your chest every time they pull away. It's not anguish. It's not panic. And it's certainly not conditional. Real love is freedom. But here's the catch. To experience that kind of love, you first have to free yourself from attachment. You must let go of the narrative that someone else has the power to complete you. You must stop fearing solitude and start reclaiming your peace. And now, I want to ask you a question from the depths of my heart. How do you let go without feeling like you're losing a piece of yourself? How do you release someone you love without being left empty? That's the mystery we'll begin to unfold in the next part. Because letting go of someone doesn't mean giving up on love, not even close. It means you're finally choosing to come home to yourself. Letting go isn't about loss. It's about reclaiming your freedom, the kind of freedom that lets you breathe again, feel again, live again, without fear. And I know letting go can feel like death. It's one of the most agonizing experiences a human heart can endure. From the time we are children, we're told that real love lasts forever, that the people who matter should never walk away. That love means holding on, no matter the cost. We are conditioned to believe that detachment means we fail, that if we let go, we didn't love hard enough, that if they leave, we are unworthy. But here's the raw, uncomfortable truth. Letting go doesn't mean failure. It means freedom. It means you've finally decided to stop attaching your happiness to someone else's presence. It means you're taking your heart out of their hands and holding it with your own. Love should never be a prison. It should never come with the constant fear that they'll walk away, that they'll change, that you'll be left behind. Because when fear takes over, love dies. It turns into an obligation, into anxiety, into emotional survival mode. Carl Jung once said, "Nothing has a stronger psychological influence on its surroundings than the unlived life of a parent." But this wisdom doesn't just apply to our parents. It applies to any relationship where we sacrifice who we are just to hold someone close. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. When you give up pieces of your soul, when you abandon your essence to maintain a bond, when you remain in places that no longer nourish your spirit, you are not saving love, you are sacrificing your life. And that is the greatest loss of all. Because the truth is, the fear of letting go is not love. It is emotional dependency. And you deserve better than that. You deserve a love that nourishes, not depletes. A love that honors your wholeness, not feeds your emptiness. A love that grows from freedom, not fear. So let this be your moment to wake up, to rise, to return to yourself. And remember, detachment doesn't mean you stop loving them. It simply means you start loving yourself more. If just the thought of letting someone go terrifies you, then pause and ask yourself something that may shake you to your core. Is it truly love that keeps you holding on? Or is it the fear of being alone? That question hurts because it pulls back the curtain. It exposes the raw truth that many of us would rather not face. Sometimes we convince ourselves we can't let go because we love too deeply, too fiercely, too fully. We tell ourselves that the bond is sacred and that our hearts wouldn't beat the same without them. But if you're honest with yourself, truly honest, you might uncover something else beneath the surface. A different emotion hiding underneath the word love. More often than not, What keeps you tied to that person isn't love, it's fear. Fear that no one else will ever understand you the way they did. Fear that you won't find another connection that feels as intense. Fear of sitting alone in the silence and having to face the parts of yourself you've avoided for years. Fear that the emptiness you feel will only grow louder in their absence. But here's the truth I had to learn the hard way, and maybe you do too. The emptiness was there before they ever arrived. You just covered it up with their presence. You used their love like a bandage. You believed their affection filled that hollow space within you, and maybe it did, for a while. But eventually, the illusion fades, and what you're left with isn't just grief over their absence, it's the echo of a void that was never theirs to fill in the first place. No one, no matter how loving, how kind, or how devoted, can fill a void that only you are meant to heal. Letting go doesn't mean that person didn't matter. It doesn't mean what you shared wasn't real. It doesn't mean you have to erase the memory or deny that there was love. It means you're choosing to honor yourself this time. It means you're no longer willing to sacrifice your peace for the sake of holding on. It means you're choosing to stop bleeding for someone who's no longer present to see it. Letting go is not the end of love. It's the end of suffering. But many people get this wrong. They think detachment is coldness. That means cutting off all ties or pretending the past never happened. But true detachment isn't hard or heartless. It's deeply compassionate. It is an act of self-love, not self-destruction. You can let go and still feel grateful. You can move forward without bitterness. You can carry the beauty of what once was without staying stuck in what will never be again. The pain of detachment comes not from the love itself, but from the way we interpret goodbye. If you see it as a loss, it will break you. If you see it as a betrayal, it will harden you. But if you see it as an act of love toward yourself, a return to your soul, then letting go becomes a doorway, not a death. It becomes the beginning of something new, not the end of everything. Because the more you cling, the more you suffer. The more you try to hold on to someone who's already letting go, the more you drain yourself. The more you chase after something that no longer feeds you, the more you forget who you are without it. Clinging doesn't strengthen love, it strangles it. True connection doesn't have to be forced. If it's meant to be, it flows. If someone genuinely wants to stay, they will. No convincing is required. So why hold on to someone who is no longer emotionally present? Why continue pouring your love into a version of them that may no longer exist? At some point, you must ask yourself, how much longer will I keep holding on to what's already gone? How much longer will I let my soul ache for someone who may have already moved on? Letting go is not a weakness. It is the most powerful thing you can do. When you let go, you don't lose your heart. You reclaim it. You remember that the only person you truly need in this life is you. Not because others don't matter, but because self-love is the foundation of every healthy connection. You cannot love someone else from a place of emptiness. You cannot offer joy if you haven't found it within yourself. You cannot build a future if the past still owns your soul. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means clearing space in your heart, in your spirit, so something new can bloom. It means choosing yourself again and again, especially when it's hard. It means trusting that what is meant for you will not pass you by. And if it does, it wasn't meant to stay. So tell me, are you still going to hold on to what no longer is? Or are you finally ready to take your power back? Because what's coming next is sacred. In the next part, we'll explore how to heal without closing your heart, how to let go without becoming bitter or afraid to love again. Because losing someone important will always hurt. It will feel like a piece of your identity is breaking, like your world just shifted and left you gasping for air. But that pain, that sacred pain, is not here to destroy you. It's here to awaken you. And this is where so many people unintentionally lose themselves. Not in the heartbreak, but in the way they choose to survive it. When love ends or slips away, We're often left standing in the rubble, confused, shattered, searching for something to hold on to. And in that fragile state, many of us make the same heartbreaking mistake. We either become prisoners of our pain, endlessly replaying the past like a haunting lullaby, or we go numb, freezing our hearts completely to protect ourselves from ever being hurt again. But as Carl Jung wisely said, what you deny controls you. What you accept transforms you. That truth is as uncomfortable as it is liberating. When you try to heal by ignoring your feelings, by burying the sadness, masking the grief, silencing the ache, you're not healing. You're hiding. And what you hide doesn't disappear. It grows. It festers. It waits. And eventually it returns, disguised as fear of intimacy, fear of betrayal, mistrust, insecurity, or a belief that you are unworthy of love. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is not repression. Healing is the sacred process of feeling fully, without letting that pain define you. And the most courageous thing you can do is let yourself walk through it, without fear of what it might awaken inside you. But we don't live in a world that teaches us how to feel. We live in a culture that encourages distraction. They tell us, time heals all wounds, or just stay busy, stay strong, don't think about it too much. They celebrate avoidance as resilience. But that's not healing. That's emotional suppression in disguise. And here's the truth I had to painfully learn: the pain you refuse to face never leaves. It sinks deeper into your bones, buries itself in your heart, and becomes the silent architect of your future fears. It becomes bitterness, trust issues, and self-sabotage. It becomes a wall you build to stay safe, but one that ends up shutting out the very love you secretly crave. Have you ever met someone, maybe even been that someone, who, after a heartbreak, says things like, "I'll never fall in love again, love just brings suffering," or "I can't trust anyone anymore"? That person is not healed. They're armored, hardened, not stronger, just closed, not free, just afraid. And instead of growing from the experience, they now live on guard. They wear emotional armor so heavy, no one can reach them, not even themselves. But here's the question I urge you to ask. What's the point of protecting yourself from love, if, in doing so, you also cut yourself off from ever truly feeling it again? You see, pain is part of the process. If you truly want to heal, deeply, fully, honestly, you cannot skip over your heartache. You have to walk through it. You have to allow yourself to break, to cry, to feel that aching silence, to feel the sting of nostalgia, the tears of longing, the anger, the confusion. You have to say, yes, I miss them. Yes, it hurts. And you have to allow every single emotion to rise, swell, and pass without trying to shove it away. Because the pain you feel will eventually free you. But the pain you avoid, it becomes the baggage you carry for years. Quiet, heavy, and invisible to everyone but you. Please, don't be afraid to feel. Don't shame yourself for being human. Don't think that because you've chosen to let go, you're no longer allowed to grieve. You are. Grief is not weakness. It's proof that you dared to love. Only when you allow yourself to feel without clinging to the suffering can you finally begin to heal. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Healing doesn't mean building walls. It doesn't mean becoming emotionally sterile. But sadly, that's what so many of us believe. We tell ourselves that the only way to never feel that kind of pain again is to shut down, to stop trusting, to stop hoping, to stop believing. We build emotional fortresses to guard our hearts, not realizing those same walls keep out every new opportunity for connection. But this is not the solution. Protecting yourself from love doesn't make you strong. It makes you lonely. It doesn't make you healed. It makes you isolated. If you've been hurt, if you've had to let someone go, If love left you in pieces, please know this. It doesn't mean love will always hurt. It doesn't mean every person will disappoint you. It simply means that one story ended, but you didn't. Every soul who enters your life comes with a purpose. Some to stay, some to teach, some to break you wide open so that you can finally face what you've hidden even from yourself. Every relationship is different. Every connection carries a new lesson. And if you close yourself off because of a past wound, you rob yourself of what the future might bring. Don't let a negative experience redefine your capacity to love. Don't let one chapter convince you the whole book isn't worth reading. Don't let fear of repeating, fear of hurting, fear of feeling, make your decisions for you. Because healing is not just about letting go of pain, it's about learning to trust again, not just trust in others, but trust in life. Trust in timing, trust in yourself. You are capable of love again. Not because the pain didn't happen, but because you survived it. And now, you're wiser. Now, you're stronger. Now, you're more awake. The scars on your heart are not signs of weakness. They are symbols of resilience. You loved, you lost, you lived, and you're still here. And that is something beautiful. How do you let go without becoming hardened? That's a question many wrestle with in silence, especially when the pain is still raw and the memories still linger like shadows that won't leave. This is where people often get lost. They confuse detachment with indifference. They assume that to move on, they must shut down. They try to convince themselves they never really cared because caring hurts and hurting feels unbearable. So they build walls. They go numb. They silence the parts of themselves that once loved so freely, so fully, and in doing so, they think they're healing, but they're just hiding. But true detachment is not disconnection. It's not about becoming immune to emotions or pretending you don't feel them. It's not about being cold. It's about feeling deeply, but no longer letting those feelings dictate your peace or your identity. It's about learning how to swim in the deep waters of your heart without drowning in them. It's not about erasing what you lived through. It's about learning from it, with compassion, not resentment. It's not about stopping love. It's about finally understanding that love was never something you were meant to possess. Carl Jung said it beautifully. Emotional freedom comes when you integrate the experience, not cling to it. And that means being grateful for what was without needing to relive it. It means honoring the past without fearing that history will repeat itself. It means creating space for new beginnings without dragging the weight of what no longer serves you. That, my friend, is real healing. It's not about running from love, but about finding a way to experience it that doesn't steal your identity or your peace. It's not about hardening yourself. It's about becoming emotionally resilient. It's not about forgetting someone you once loved. It's about releasing them with grace, not grief. Because love was never the problem. The problem was how we misunderstood love, how we turned it into a crutch when we were already limping, how we clung to it as proof of our worth, how we depended on it to feel whole when we hadn't even met ourselves fully yet. If you've only known love through the lens of fear or lack, of course, it felt like suffering. If you've only experienced it through attachment, of seek or see, you believed you were nothing without it. If you used to love to cover up the emptiness, of course, you felt shattered when they walked away. But here's the truth that sets you free. Love does not come from others. It begins with you. Love is not something you have to chase, beg for, or earn. It's not something that fills you. It's something that flows from you once you've made peace with yourself. Once you realize that love has always lived inside of you, not in them, not in the relationship, not in the memories, you'll never be afraid to let go again. The real power lies in moving forward, not with bitterness, not with regret, but with wisdom. Now that you know letting go doesn't mean losing, now that you understand that healing doesn't require you to close your heart, Let me ask you something even deeper. How do you take all this, the pain, the release, the healing, and turn it into real growth? Because letting go and healing aren't just about surviving a breakup or an ending. They're about who you become on the other side of it. Letting go should never leave you feeling empty. It should awaken something powerful within you. It should make you stronger, more self-aware, more whole. It should plant the seeds of transformation, because the end of a love story is not the end of your story. It's not a closing, it's a calling. It's the beginning of something greater than what you lost. This is where pain becomes purpose. Let's be honest, the pain of letting go feels like an open wound. It makes you doubt your worth. It has you questioning everything. Was it my fault? Could I have done something different? You replay memories, conversations, silent moments, searching for answers you may never get. But here's what you need to understand. Suffering only destroys you when you don't use it to grow. Carl Jung once said, "Without pain, there is no awareness. The moments that hurt the most aren't here to punish you, they're here to awaken you, to shake you out of what's familiar and pull you into a higher version of yourself, to force you to see the truths you've been too afraid to face." But many people get stuck in the pain. They wear it like armor. They cling to it as if it's the only thing they have left of the relationship. They let it define them. They use it to justify why they'll never trust again, why they'll never open their heart, why they'll never be vulnerable. But this is where you have a choice. You can let pain swallow you whole, or you can let it shape you. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every loss, it all leaves something inside you. Maybe it taught you that no one else is responsible for your happiness. Maybe it made you realize that without boundaries, you lose yourself. Maybe it showed you how often you accepted less than you deserved, and now you refuse to settle ever again. Pain is a mirror. It reflects what needs your attention. And if you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" everything changes. Because now your pain isn't your prison, it's your teacher. If it made you feel small, use it to reclaim your confidence. If it left you feeling lost, let it lead you back to yourself. If it made you give more than you received, let it teach you to guard your heart with grace and strength. Every scar on your heart is not a failure. It's a testimony, proof that you went through the fire and came out wiser. But here's the turning point, the choice that defines who you become. You can remain stuck in the past, clinging to a story that no longer serves you. Or you can rise, you can evolve. You can take that same story and turn it into something sacred, because letting go of someone doesn't mean you've lost yourself. It means you're finally finding yourself. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's remembering who you were before the pain, and discovering who you are because of it. This is where transformation begins. If you come out of a painful experience and remain the exact same person you were before, then I invite you to pause, because something essential has been missed. Heartbreak, loss, disappointment, these are not meaningless wounds. They are teachers. They are mirrors. They are invitations to grow into a version of yourself you might not have otherwise discovered. Pain is not there to destroy you. It is there to transform you. But that transformation can only happen if you allow the experience to touch you, reshape you, and expand your awareness. If you resist it, numb it, or rush past it, you lose the very gift hidden within the ache. Here's the key, and it's one that many never realize. Pain should never make you harder. It should make you wiser. You weren't meant to come out of loss bitter. You were meant to come out more discerning, more compassionate, more whole. You shouldn't close yourself off from love just because love once hurt. Instead, you're called to learn how to love differently, without fear, without chains, without losing yourself. You shouldn't stop trusting altogether. Rather, you should learn to trust with clarity, to offer your heart to those who have earned it, not just those who reach for it. You shouldn't carry resentment like armor. Instead, carry gratitude for the lesson, even if the ending was painful. Because everything you went through brought you closer to the truth, even if that truth was hard to face. Life was never meant to be lived avoiding pain. It's meant to be lived through it, to let it stretch you, to let it shape you, let it deepen your soul and strengthen your spirit. Your story does not end here. In fact, if you are in the process of letting someone go and it feels like your heart is breaking in two, I want you to know this is not the end. This is evolution. You are not losing yourself. You are rediscovering yourself. You are not abandoning love. You are learning how to love from a place of power, not need. You are not doomed to repeat the same patterns. You are gaining the self-awareness to break them. So ask yourself, with courage and kindness, how will you use this pain to grow? How will you rise from this chapter with deeper wisdom, stronger boundaries, and a heart that still believes in love, but no longer begs for it? Because here's the truth. The story you've lived so far cannot be rewritten. But the story you write next is completely in your hands. And this leads us to the most vital step, the one that truly shifts everything, moving forward with fulfillment. Without fear, without chains. Letting go of someone is not just about closing a chapter. It's about stepping through a new door. It's about giving yourself the freedom to begin again, without dragging the weight of yesterday into the light of tomorrow. To move forward with fulfillment means building a life where attachment no longer holds you hostage, where detachment is not coldness, but clarity, where freedom isn't loneliness, it's liberation. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Detaching from someone isn't simply about ending a relationship. It's about releasing the deeper illusion, the belief that your completeness exists in another person. It's about calling your energy back home. It's about standing in the center of your soul again. It's about living from wholeness instead of emotional hunger. But many people, even after saying goodbye, stay emotionally tied to what was. They revisit memories like secret rituals. They check the person's social media. They replay old conversations. They lie awake at night, still hoping for a message, a sign, a miracle. And without even realizing it, they turn attachment into a silent, private waiting game. But here's a truth I had to face, and maybe you do too. You cannot move forward while still looking back. You cannot build something beautiful if your heart is still entangled in the ruins of what once was. You cannot feel free if your spirit is still chained to a ghost. Invisible attachment is one of the most powerful forms of emotional bondage. Imagine someone who ends a relationship. On the outside, they seem fine. They say they've moved on, but behind closed doors, they scroll through their last messages. They flinch every time they hear a song that reminds them of that love. They meet someone new and instantly compare them to the one who left. They are still bound, not by the person, but by the hope that things could go back to how they used to be. They replay every detail, wondering, what if I'd done something differently? They still whisper to themselves, maybe one day they'll come back. But that's not peace, that's emotional captivity. That's the past still ruling the present. And the most dangerous part, most people don't even know they're trapped. They convince themselves that they're just healing and that time will fix everything. But they're not healing, they're reliving, they're stuck. So ask yourself, with bold honesty, have I truly let go, or have I just learned to live with the memory? And if you feel empty without them, I want you to understand something that could change everything. That emptiness wasn't created by their absence. It was already there. You just covered it up with their presence. You thought their love filled a part of you that felt incomplete. You believed that their attention, their affection, somehow made you feel whole. But it didn't. It only distracted you from the truth you didn't want to face. That's why when they left, it felt like more than just a goodbye. It felt like you lost a piece of yourself because you had handed it to them. But here's the raw, liberating truth. No one can complete you. No one can fill a void that you are still refusing to face. If you feel empty, The answer isn't to find someone new, it's to go inward, to meet the part of yourself you've been avoiding, to give yourself the love you've spent your life begging for. Because if you don't do that, you will repeat the cycle. You'll cling to the next person, hoping this time they'll save you. You'll lose yourself in another story, thinking this time it will last. And once again, your happiness will rise and fall depending on someone else's ability to stay. But you weren't born to live like that. The only relationship you were ever truly meant to heal is the one with yourself. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean erasing memories or pretending they didn't matter. It means choosing yourself. It means standing in your truth and saying, I deserve to feel whole without being held. I deserve peace, even if no one else is here to give it to me. Because your healing doesn't begin the day they left. It begins the day you decide to come back to yourself. Imagine this, waking up each morning with a calm certainty in your soul, a deep, unwavering knowing that nothing outside of you has the power to dictate your peace. Not a person, not a past, not a promise that was never kept. Imagine opening your eyes and no longer feeling anxious about who stayed or who walked away. Imagine being able to love, truly love, without the crippling fear of losing, because you finally understand that no one can take away what you've already discovered within yourself. That is freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from isolation or detachment, but the kind that blooms from wholeness. You are no longer tied to someone because you need them. You are tied by choice, not desperation, by connection, not dependence. And even if that tie loosens or breaks, you remain grounded because you are not built on someone else's presence. This is what it truly means to move forward. It doesn't mean forgetting the people who mattered to you. It doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. It doesn't mean you erase the memories or pretend you didn't ache when they left. No, real growth honors your heart. You can remember someone with warmth and still walk away in peace. You can feel the sting of goodbye and still hold gratitude for what they brought into your life. Because love should never be measured by how much you suffer when someone leaves. Pain isn't proof of love. Loss isn't a reflection of your worth. You don't become less because someone is no longer in your life. You don't become smaller, weaker, or broken simply because the chapter ended. Your worth is not tied to who stays. Your power is not diminished by who goes. Reclaiming your power starts the moment you stop letting other people define your value. It begins when you stop asking, why wasn't I enough? And instead begin whispering to your soul, I've always been enough. I just forgot. Yes, life goes on, with or without them. The winds still blow. The sun still rises. The world doesn't pause for your pain. But the real question is, are you moving forward with it? Or are you still standing in yesterday, staring at a door that's already closed? Because I've seen it, maybe you have too. Some people spend their entire lives looking backward, eyes fixed on the past. Hearts are anchored to a story that has already ended. They hold on to the what-ifs and the maybes, hoping for answers that may never come. They replay every conversation, every moment. They feel nostalgia, not for the truth, but for the version of the past they've romanticized. They cling to a love that might not have been as perfect as they remember, not because they're weak, but because they're still healing, because they haven't yet realized that the person they're missing is the version of themselves they abandoned to keep that relationship alive. Now that you've walked with me through this journey of letting go, healing, and reclaiming your power, what have you learned? Have you discovered something new about yourself? Did a part of your heart finally exhale, realizing that you no longer have to carry what's been weighing you down? Let me ask you this, what is one truth, one realization, or one shift that you will carry with you into your life from this moment on? Maybe it's the courage to stop clinging to someone who no longer chooses you. Maybe it's the decision to stop defining your worth through someone else's love. Or maybe it's the quiet but powerful understanding that healing doesn't mean closing your heart, it means coming home to it. I'd love for you to share that one thing in the comments below. Your words might not only remind you of your growth, but they could be the light someone else needs to see today. If you liked this video, please leave your comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're here to grow together, with honesty, with courage, and with hearts wide open. Until next time, keep moving forward without fear and chains.